All right, so I think I got cut off in my last video, but yes, you can put an X on the back side of your board before you start gluing so that you know which side is the back and which side is the front. And the other thing you want to note before you start gluing is how far down from the top you want to start. You do not need to start down as far as I am in this. You can see I'm quite a ways down from the top. You only need to be about 1 or 2 inches down from the top. That way you maximize the most of the board with your sizzle rope. I started down too low, so mine is gonna end too low. So like I said, I would just start about 1 inch down from the top so that it looks closer to the very top of the board. Okay, so the very first thing I want to note is that you don't need very much glue, but the glue does take a little while to dry. So you are going to want to, whenever you use the glue at all, you're going to want to put it on the board, let it air dry a little bit, let it get tacky, if you will. Take about 10 seconds to do that. And then you're going to want to push the rope down to the spot you have just put the glue on, and you'll hold it there for about 1 minute. I know it sounds like a long time, but the glue just needs time to adhere to the wood and to the rope. Okay, so to start, you are going to be starting with the end on the back side of your board, about 1 inch down, 1 inch or 2 down from the top, and you're going to put a drop of glue on the board. You're going to let it air dry a little bit, and then you're going to push the board or the rope down into the wood glue, super glue, for about 1 minute. Whenever you feel like it's sticking and you can pull your finger off and it'll remain in place, that means that you've held it long enough. You just don't want to let go until you feel like it will stay in place. Okay. So, as you go, you're going to continue that kind of a thought process. You're going to wrap around the front to your board, and then you're going to put 3 drops of glue in. You'll do a drop on the left, in the middle, and on the right. You'll just put 3 little drops, and then you will lay your rope down, and you're going to hold firm for about 1 minute until it's holding. Then once you let go, you'll have it secured down. Then you'll continue to the back. And the process goes for the whole length of the board. You're gonna do about 3 dots on the front per line, and then you're gonna do 1 on the back. You don't need to do 3 on the back side of the board because the cat will never be scratching on this side. He will always be scratching on the top surface. So if you just glue it down once on the back, that'll be enough to hold it in place. It doesn't need to be glued down nearly as tight on the back. So you'll do a dot right in the center, put a little blob of glue, let it air dry, let it get tacky. I'd say 10 to 15 seconds. I'm not sure how long exactly, but I recommend 10 to 15. You can definitely play with that as you go. You'll figure out what your comfort is and what you think works the best, but you will hold it until the glue dries, until the rope is stuck to the board and it won't go anywhere like you can see this stuff is. And then once you get done with the back side, you will rotate to the front of the board again and you'll start over. You'll do your next row. Another thing you want to pay attention to is keeping each row close together. If you have space between them, it won't hold as well. So you want to keep each row snug to the row above it. You just want to make sure there's no space where your cat can get his claws in there and tear it apart. Because the goal is to make this last. So you just want to keep the rows close together and do 3 spots of glue on the front and let them dry. Make sure the rope isn't going anywhere. And then you can rotate to the back. Continue with the same process. Keep it up, snug to the row above it. Glue 1 spot in the middle. Hold it down until it's good. And then rotate back to the front. So this will be 1 long continuous roll that you do. And as the glue dries, you'll keep moving down your board. And eventually you'll get to the bottom, which is where you will end as well. You started on the back, you'll end on the back, just so that way your edges are not exposed. Okay, if you guys have any questions while you're making this, please feel free to jump on our Facebook page and ask the questions. We will be watching Facebook very closely today so we can answer any questions that you guys will have. We really appreciate all questions, because if you have the question, the odds that someone else is wondering the same thing are very high. So please feel free to ask any questions or share any concerns that you may have, or if you come up with something that helps keep this more efficient, please share that on our Facebook. We would love to share with all the other people who are making these as well. Okay, one other thing, this rope is kind of thorny, so you might want to wear gloves just so that it doesn't hurt your fingers. I mean, it's not terrible, but I do recommend wearing gloves if you want to. You definitely can. And as you go, you will start to see what your cat scratcher will look like. So yes, just work your way down the board, 3 dots of glue on the front, 1 dot of glue on the back. The reason I say that is because the glue does run out relatively quickly. I mean, they're pretty small little bottles, and you don't need a whole lot. So once you get working down your board, you might notice that you're getting low on glue. If you are getting low on glue, you should have plenty, but if you are getting low on glue, it might mean you're using too much. So that's why I recommend your 3 dots on the front and 1 dot on the back. And once you get a ways down the board, you can even go back in and put some glue on the rope itself and kind of smush your ropes together. So the rope will be glued down to the board, but then you can also glue the rope to each other if you want. That's up to you. That will just be some extra holding power. So whatever you guys think you want to do with that is great. But if you glue the rope down to the board, it's not going anywhere. All right. Well, good luck, guys, and ask questions if you have any. And I will post another video here in a minute of how to glue the 2 boards together and how to let that dry. Okay? Happy crafting!